Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm excited that you're here. I have realized that I think I'm cranky with, I'll just say that. I think I'm cranky. I'm getting up in that age. Just kidding. I'm 31. I can be cranky, okay? I feel like once you get older, there's like levels of cranky that you can be with people, and people will be like, oh, yeah, okay. Like, that makes sense why she's cranky, you know? Some people just skip levels of crankiness and you're like, whoa, you gotta calm it. But when you get to like 16, 70, you're at that level where you're like, oh yeah, you can be cranky. You've lived through a lot. But, didn't think that I would start this episode with levels of crankiness. But I think I'm getting cranky about female characters. I'm not saying that today's book made me cranky, but I didn't love her. I didn't hate her. I didn't love her. And I'm just about to finish Fourth Wing, like listening to it. Of course, I've read it and everything. I'm listening to them as it gets closer to January. There was the book reveal today, the book cover of Onyx Storm. So, I'm just like slowly rereading them, re-listening, whatever you want to say. And I don't know if it's just because I listened to it and maybe it's like the narrator that is making Violet seem very poor me, but it's giving very much poor me. And I didn't like it. I don't know if I should just like not listen to books anymore. I mean, I didn't listen to the book today, like the book of Azrael. I didn't listen to it. I read it, but still just some of the situations, which we can kind of talk about in a little bit, they just like rubbed me wrong that I was like, okay, why do you have to ruin it? Like, why do you have to ruin this? So we'll get there, but just know that I'm starting this out a little bit cranky. Okay, this is another theory. Another theory that I'm going to put out there that I explained to my friend Caitlin, my best friend Caitlin, because she, remember, finished the Court of Thorn and Roses books. And she hated Feyre, which is understandable. I don't like Feyre either. But I'm wondering if the female characters have a little bit of the author in them, like characteristics that maybe the author is kind of like these characters. I'm not saying like completely, but little like characteristics of them or little like attributes that they kind of like liken it to themselves. And so I liked Aelin from the Thorn of Glass series. Like later on, I liked her. But the beginning ones didn't like her at all. So it makes me wonder. She like gave me very much Feyre vibes. So it makes me wonder if Sarah J. Maas is kind of like that or used to be like that when she was like younger and like really writing these books. And I don't know, is that a weird thought? Has anyone else thought that as well? That it's like, okay, am I like actually reading who the author is and little things about them, like in these female characters? Or are they just like pulling from someone else in their life? Or like, where are they getting this inspiration for these female characters? Because some of them are hits. Some of them I'm like, oh my gosh, I could be best friends with these female characters. Like, absolutely love them, would read anything that they are about or like in. And then there's some that I'm like, I want to freaking punch you. Like, why would you do that? Like, why would you say that? Why would you do that? Why would you cause this? Like, where are we going with this? That's just a little theory that I have that I'm like, is the author actually like this? But, okay, circling back around, you can tell that I have a lot of thoughts and feelings today. We are going to be talking about the Book of Azrael, which this is going to be an episode where I don't get a lot into details. There's some twists and turns. I think there are more, but I just didn't understand them. This book was good. I tried to explain it to my sister. It didn't have the wow factor to me. Like, it was good. It was a good fantasy, good first book, like with world building. There were quite a few things I didn't understand, but I understood them a little bit more throughout the book, which is great. But there are so many things that I still don't understand. I don't get it. And there are 3 books out right now. So the first book is the Book of Azrael, Gods and Monsters. The second is the Throne of Broken Gods, and then the third is The Dawn of the Cursed Queen. And then there is going to be a 4th book, but the title hasn't been released or anything, and we don't know when it's coming out. So this is all by Amber Nicole, or Amber V. Nicole. Yeah, and I'm sure you'll learn more about the world in the 2nd book, and maybe even the 3rd. But the book just didn't have enough wow to me, or enough to like really suck me in that I want to read the 2nd book. I'm sure they're great. Like, I liked the characters, I liked the world building, I liked everything about it, just nothing like hooked me. I had a message from like a follower on Instagram that she loves this series. She loves this book, that she loves like the relationship between the 2 characters. And so I was like, great, I love that. And I'm not saying she's wrong, but I think that we just have different likes about a book, I guess. Because again, this was a good book. It was a very good book. I told my sister to put it on her list to read, but that it wasn't a rush. That it's not like, oh my gosh, drop everything, read this now. It's not that. It's like, hey, if you want a good, solid book that maybe you want to get like really into the series and read more about, then read this series. I do recommend it. It's just not ASAP right now. And I actually would recommend it to my mom. I think I would have my sister read it first, just to get like confirmation, like, yes, mom can read this, because it is a slow burn, like really slow burn. I think it's around like 80% through that the 2 characters are like, oh, I think we like each other. Maybe like, let's do a little bit of spiciness. But I don't even think that they have sex, like, or toast. Remember when I used to call it toast because I couldn't call it sex? I can call things sex. I do cringe still inside, but if I ever say like, oh, they're gonna make toast, that's how you know is sex. I will, it's toast, sex, whatever, spiciness. There wasn't a lot, like, at all, and I kind of was sad about that because I require at least 3 spicy scale, and I got like maybe a 1. So that's how I feel about that. That's why I think I can recommend it to my mom and sister, because of the spice scale. So I think my mom would actually like it. I think she might, like, if she does read the 1st book, I think that she would read the whole series. I don't know. So I'm going to have my sister read it just to get her vibes on if we should recommend it to my mom, and then go from there. So that's the mother-sister standard. We have our main female character is Diana. This is a dual point of view. So we go between Diana and Liam, which Liam is actually Samkiel. Actually, honestly, I don't know how to say these words or like names in this book as well. So if I butcher it, so sorry. I can't do any better. I pronounce regular words daily like wrong. So I don't know how I can pronounce these right. I mean, unless you really listen to the book and then you can tell me what it actually is. But for now, I'm just going to butcher it and we're going to go with it. So we have Diana. So her and her sister, which I thought this was very interesting, her and her sister used to be mortal like centuries ago. And that part I was like, oh, that's different. Like, they weren't turned immortal recently. Like, they've had a lifetime to them. So her and her sister used to be mortal, and they lived in a desert. I want to say it sounded like they lived over in like the Middle East, which this isn't actually in our world. It's these other worlds being created, but it sounded similar. And her sister was dying, I want to say of the plague. I know that her parents died of the plague, or their parents died of the plague, when the world that we're going to talk about later, people were transferred. I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyways, there was a plague that came with this like world shattering thing that we will talk about. And so she pled to whoever was listening. This is Diana. She pled to whoever was listening to save her sister's life. And she was brought to Caden, which is supposed to be a powerful being, which he is. And we find out like really who he is later. But For a second, I was like, Caden. Like, that's a very generic name. Like, why Caden for this powerful being? I don't know. Wasn't my choice. But I just think it takes away from, like, the powerfulness, I guess, just with the name Caden. So, took to Caden. He, like, I don't know what he did. Gave his blood. I don't know, just transformed them. She became, this is the word that I know I'm going to butcher, Igmorathan. Igmorathan? It's like IG apostrophe and then Morathan. She became an Igmorathan. And her sister, she has just got like an extended life, an immortal life. But it was Diana that usually these Igmorathans, they are horned gargoyle mortals. Like, think gargoyles. And Caden has tried to give his blood to all these other creatures, beings, mortals, to try and make like another Diana, but they just turn into these other beings that are like the gargoyles. And so he hasn't figured out how to make another one of her. And she is in debt to Caden, like forever. And so she like became his killer, his lover, his whatever. She actually is his second in command. There's like Tobias and Alistair. They're like the third and fourth in command. They're super evil. And she got the name Bloodthirsty Queen, which I don't know why. I mean, she is like bloodthirsty, like she is a killer. She's like basically Caden's like assassin. But I don't know why Bloodthirsty Queen. And it doesn't really explain that, I want to say, because I didn't mark it down. I didn't make any notes about it. Like, she just got that name. And so I'm like, why Queen? Do people know that you're his lover, like his second in command? Like, maybe that's why. So then we learn more about the world. So apparently thousands of years ago, there was a god war on this planet or realm. It's like Runithian. I don't know. I know I wrote it down somewhere, but it looked like a really impossible name. That maybe it'll come up. Oh, Rashirim? Rashirim? Maybe. It's something with an R. So there was this world and this god war. And what basically happened is that all these gods were at war with the Igmorithms. I don't know these words. I don't know these names. And then there was this world ender. And he ended that world. But before he did that, he transported a lot of paranormal creatures, supernatural creatures of all these different types into like Diana's world. And then he sealed off those realms. And so I don't know if they were destroyed or if they have a different realm that they just came to like attack his, like the World Enders realm. See, this is so confusing. Like, I'm so confused. Even just like talking about this. Okay, so then Caden, like this powerful being, he and his people, I guess his people, his guards, all of them, Diana and all of them, they're trying to find this book of Azrael. This book apparently tells them how to open up the realms again and go back to their people or have their people come to them. And it also tells them how to kill the world ender, because apparently he's like just super immortal. And the Igmorathans, they follow the four kings of Yedin, which we literally don't find out like anything about them. The premortals, which they created the four kings of Yendon to rule the realm. So I don't know. It's so confusing. So is a realm made up of multiple worlds? Is that what they're trying to tell us? And so in one of the worlds, they had this god war, and so transferred them to a different world and like sealed it off. I don't know. That's the thing. So that's what Caden and his people and Diana are trying to do. Like this whole book is find this book of Azrael so that he can basically. It's like he's the ruler over all of these evil people, so that he can bring people or just probably start another war. So they're trying to find him. So he gets together with a lot of like supernaturals that meet once a month for like this meeting of all these people. So there are witches and dream eaters and banshees and shades and werewolves and mortals and vampires. They all show up for this meeting like once a month. And the vampires, they haven't been showing up, like the king and his brother, the prince, haven't been showing up lately. They've been sending people like their proxies. And so that gets Caden like really upset, and he kills the proxies. And then he sends Diana later on to go and basically send them a message. She's supposed to kill the prince, which twist is one of her like best friends, and she doesn't actually kill him, and we learn more about him later, but then like more twists happen. Yeah, it's, which I'm not going to tell you what the twists are, obviously. So they are all fighting about the book, and they don't even know, like this council, they all don't even know if this book is real. Like they have just gone off of like lore and just have been searching for it for years and years and years. But they do know that once they find this book, it will bring the world ender. Which, did I call him the world eater? I don't know, but it's the world ender. And this is Sam Keel. I don't know if I said his name right. He hasn't been seen or heard from since his home world like blew up. Like he's the boogie of the other world, which that's another like phrase or term that I'm like, well, what's the other world? I don't know. It wasn't very clear to me, and I could have missed a lot of these things. So if you're yelling at me and saying like, no, 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 this is because of this is because of this, comment this on my Instagram post that I'm going to be putting up when the episode is available. Comment these things, because maybe I'm just so confused that I need this clarity so that I can read the next book. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's just the confusion that I'm like, I don't even know what's going on that's stopping me from reading the next book. So let me know if there is like some clarity that you can give me to really like, I don't know what's happening. Okay, so she pretends to kill the prince, Drake. That's his name. And you don't know that it's pretend. You think that he actually is dead. And so Caden rewards her by letting her go spend time with her sister. And she doesn't get to spend very much time with her sister usually, and she doesn't ever know when she can. So she gets to spend 2 weeks with her, which is great. But then she gets called in to search like this jungle location because they got a hit on maybe the book of Azrael being there. So she goes down there with Alistair and Tobias, and they find one of these guys, which he is called the Hand. He is a hand. It's called the Hand of Samkiel, or no, Hand of Rashirim. Those are these elite soldiers that are like the guards of Samkiel, which Samkiel, we've kind of met him a little bit at this point. He goes by the name of Liam now. So that's much easier for me to say. So I'm going to refer to him as Liam from now on. So back to Diana. She gets, she's down in this like underground library thing, and one of the hands is there. And they fight for a little bit. She's a very, very good fighter. Of course, he is as well. And they're saying, and Caden shows up too, because he's like, what are you doing? And she's like he was just down here. And they want to capture this guy and torture him for like information, everything like that. This guy, I think his name's Xavier. Yeah. He knows that that's like a no-go. So he takes one of his daggers and sacrifices himself, because he knows once he sacrifices himself, it's going to alert Liam that he needs to come down. And so Caden doesn't know that this guy sacrificed himself. He thinks that Diana did it. And so he's like super mad at Diana. Um, and I don't even know if he did anything. I think he like hurt her like with his talons, or I don't know, but she does get punished. And I don't remember, at some point she gets captured by the Celestials, or like the hand of Resham or whatever, Liam's people. And so she gets captured, and she's basically told from like Kate and all them, like, you're on your own. Like, we're not coming to save you. So they interrogate her for weeks and kind of torture. She meets Liam. He can't get any information out of her, so he's like, hey, let's transfer her up to Silver City. I don't know what is in Silver City. I guess it's a Celestials like stronghold. I don't know. Hey, let's transport her, get her up there. But surprise, Caden or Tobias and Alistair try and rescue her because she's really important to Caden, and it goes sideways. And I think Alistair leaves. No. Tobias leaves. And Tobias is actually about to kill one of Liam's like guards. His name is Logan. And we actually like Logan. Like, he seems like a cool guy. We kind of meet him a little bit more when we get like Liam's point of view. And so you're like, oh my gosh, like they're about to kill Logan. No, twist. Diana turns and stabs freaking Alistair. And so now she turns to Logan and is like, hey, I'm going to help save you because he's super injured. Take me to Liam. Take me, and we're going to make a deal. And he's like, okay. So he takes her to Liam. And she wants to make a deal to protect her sister because her sister is like number one priority for her, like nothing above her sister. And she knows that once Caden finds out that she killed Alistair and like went against him, that he's immediately going to go for her sister. So she makes this deal with Liam. They make this like blood deal to like help each other. And they go and get Gabby, who is the sister. They go and get her and take her to a secure place. And they want to learn more about each other, obviously, because like Liam and Diana, because they don't know very much about them. They just know that they're enemies and they only have like different knowledge about each other. So they do get to know each other. And Liam, he's like, I don't think that there's a book. I really don't think that there's a book. And because he would have known about it. Like, he knew Azrael when they were like up in their world or whatever. And he's like, he would have told me, like he would have said something. Like, he doesn't have a book. And so as the story goes, it is it's kind of a slow storyline. Like, there are a lot of things happen, but there actually is a lot of things that go wrong, which is surprising. Like, in a lot of books, like maybe one thing goes wrong and then they're able to like make up for it in a different way, and then things go right. But like, it really seemed like a lot of things were going wrong, like right in a row for them. And I was getting frustrated because I'm like, oh my gosh, can they just like take a break or like get a break? I don't know. Frustrated with that. The storyline at some points were kind of slow. And even then there was like a cliffhanger and not a lot was solved. You do see like Liam and Diana get to know each other more, but because it's like such a slow burn, they are just trying to like become friends because Liam is very standoffish. He doesn't really understand emotions very well. And so the journey for them to even become friends like took the whole book. It was a lot. And then there's like a little bit of spiciness, which I said. So yeah, it's like there were things that were happening, but the storyline, like the plot, just really didn't progress a lot. Like, I don't know if like things just really don't go away. And at some point, it does seem like the author was maybe delaying things. But then I'm like, why would you delay things? Like, do you want to like stretch this story out just so that you can get like more books? Or were you not sure like what you should put all in the first book and then wait for a second book? Like, I got those vibes. And so like it was interesting. Like, this whole book, again, didn't hate it, didn't love it. But it was good. It was neutral. So if you've heard a lot of things about these books, I do recommend you read them. But they just didn't change my world. They didn't, you know, they didn't give me the wow factor, like I said earlier. And these two characters need to learn to communicate. There was a lot of decisions that Diana did, just like willy-nilly, that ruined a lot of things for them. And I don't understand why Liam is not more angry at her. Like, she ruined quite a few things. Then I'm like, if you would just take like 10 more seconds to think about what you're about to do, you would know that it's going to ruin a lot of things, and put them in a worse situation. But, you know, it's a book and it's whatever. I do like Amber, the author. I do like her writing. Like, I do like, how would I put it? I do like her level of writing. Like, it wasn't elementary writing, but it wasn't so confusing like, I don't know, a really confusing book. Like, it was good. Like, it was understandable. I think it was just the details that were very confusing and not a lot of clarity with it. But I did like how she phrased her sentences and like all of that. So there are some pros and cons to this book. I will say that. That will be my final note, is pros and cons. If someone asks me, hey, should I read this? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes. So that's all I will say. And I enjoyed the book. Will I maybe go to the second book? I don't know. I said no earlier, but it's TBD. There are quite a few other books that I want to read first, so I don't know. It's very much up in the air. The next book, speaking of the books that I'm going to be reading next, the next book is Allie Hazelwood's book that just came out, Not in Love. I didn't know that she was coming out with a book, which I feel like I need to just be more aware of what's happening in the community, the book community. I do know that Tessa Bailey is coming out with her book in a couple weeks, like next week. And I'm so freaking excited about it because you know that I loved Fangirl Down. Loved that book. And this is a book that is like the hockey player that makes an appearance in Fangirl Down. It's like him, and then it's what's her name? The main female character in Fangirl Down. It's her best friend that is in this next book. So I'm so excited. I'm so excited. So yeah, I'm going to read Not in Love by Allie Hazelwood. And then hopefully by next week, I'm going to have to look at dates. I can do the one by Tessa Bailey. If not, it will be the week after that. So I should have enough time. Like, the timeline should match up. So I just gotta plan that out. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this book. If you have read it, I hope you enjoyed the little synopsis. Hopefully I didn't give too much away in this. I feel like I didn't say a lot of the twists that happen. But yeah, let me know if you enjoyed it, and if you understood more than I did, definitely comment on the Instagram post that's going to be coming up with like more clarity of like, hey, this actually means this, or hey, this is why this. I would love it. I would really love it because I really did want to like this book. I was just confused. So anyways, I hope you guys have a great week. Oh my gosh, I didn't tell you. I started listening to Crescent City, which that's going to take me a long time. I just want you to know. Because I'm listening to it like I did with the Throne of Glass series. And I heard that the first book is very difficult to get through, so it probably will be more difficult because I'm listening to it. But I'm only in chapter 2, so I already don't understand the characters or anything like that. But at the end of each episode, while I listen to this book, like, I will keep you guys updated on where I am, thoughts and feelings, like I did with Throne of Glass. So I just want to make you aware, and I'll let you know next episode as well. So Anyways, love you guys. I will talk to you next week.